Hi, everybody. It's James here. This is the first episode of my new podcast called Lost and Found with James McGrath. And I'm James McGrath. So I hope everybody sticks around. Should be pretty cool. It's just going to be me starting off. Got a couple interesting things I want to touch base on. Give a little bit about my background and my goals in life and all that good stuff. Give you a little intake on why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I'm working so hard to succeed. I hope everybody's doing good out there in podcast land in real life. I know times can be pretty hectic right now with this pandemic going on. Some people are working, some people are not working. It can be rough out there, and I hear you. I'm right there with you. Don't think you're alone. So again, my name's James McGrath. This is my podcast, Lost and Found. We'll get into the name here in a little bit, but it all started way back when. I was born in New York, or Rochester, upstate. Quickly moved to Florida, here in Cape Coral, Florida, beautiful Cape Coral, Florida, Southwest Florida. Moved down here when I was a baby, lived here till about 7, 8, ended up moving back up to New York, stayed there for a year, moved back down to Florida, one more year down here, then I ended up moving back to New York, and then then I moved up to Rhode Island, right under Boston, about an hour under Boston, and I lived there for probably about 11 years. It was my longest chunk at the my first longest chunk living somewhere anyway. As you could tell, I jumped around a lot. So I spent 11 years up there. Hate the cold. Met a lot of really good people up there. Got a lot of really close friends still up north, but I cannot stand the weather. I'm a Southwest Florida kind of guy for sure. Not necessarily have to be hot all the time, but I can't deal with those long winters. Just not my thing. Not my thing at all. Well, I ended up, after 11 years, moving back down here to Florida to try to start over and get somewhere. And here I am. Been down here for about, 9 years, 10 years now. It's been a whole decade again. Another decade down here I just went through. Ended up meeting my daughter's mother and having my daughter about 5 years ago. Life-changing event. She is my world. I love her very much. Her name is Daenerys. Me and her mother named her after the Game of Thrones character, which is my favorite character. How I got away with that is beyond me, but I found a woman that actually let me name my daughter Daenerys. But it is pretty awesome. I love the name. And she's my sweetheart. And I mainly am doing this for her. She was diagnosed 4 months in with spinal muscular atrophy type 1, which SMA type 1 is another term for it. She's basically paralyzed. She has very little muscle movement. And that really just shattered my whole world when it happened. Everybody's world. You get to sit down, and me and her mother sat in a room with like 20 doctors. Well, not 20 doctors, but like 20 people in the medical industry, a bunch of doctors and whatnot. And we were told our daughter would only live probably about a year or two at the time. Failed to mention right away that they could give her a tracheotomy and then she'd have a lot better chance of making it past that cap, but they didn't tell us that at first, so the first day was pretty rough. We sat there and had to deal with that. The next day they told us we could get a trach, and if she was a fighter, which she is, she'd be doing fine. And it's been rough. It hasn't exactly been easy, but here we are. She just turned 5 years old. I'm going to throw up some picture of her real quick. Let everybody see her. My cutie face. That's why I've done this one in the back here. This was for my daughter, for Danny. That's her nickname. We call her Danny. So, when all that happened, I was quite lost. Me and her mother split up because everything was just real hard on everybody and just wasn't meant to be. But we still work, toward making sure she has a good life, and we're civil toward each other. Everything worked out in the long run. I didn't really know what I've been doing for work. Like, I just pretty much was in retail for 10 years and then decided to do construction. Worked building houses for the last 5 years here in Cape Coral, and mostly in Cape Coral, but Lee County area. Cinder block work. It was pretty fun out there in the sunshine building houses. Man's work, that's for sure. It's not an easy job in the least. Definitely put a lot of calluses on the old hands. But was really depressed and didn't know what the hell to do with my life or how I could move forward for the longest time afterwards with everything that happened. That started looking for content online to help me kind of figure stuff out, like find a therapist without finding a therapist kind of deal, you know what I mean? Started finding workout stuff online, that started slowly working myself into a routine to get up every day and work out on top of working. That started helping me. And then out of nowhere, one day I happened to come across a Joe Rogan Experience, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. I want to say it was either the Mike Tyson episode, the first episode, or maybe a Russell Brand episode, one of those. But I watched that for the first time, and it was just, God, it was crazy. I hadn't really listened to anybody else talk and felt comfortable being around people, if that makes any sense. I had been so used to being by myself in the situation I was. It was go to work, come home, go to visit my daughter, and that was it. I didn't really hang out with a lot of people. It was hard for me to meet people for the longest time. It was hard for me to just have a conversation with somebody. Emotionally, I was wrecked. It was really, really hard to just bond with anybody, even in the simplest of ways. So right away I felt comfortable listening to Rogan talk. He's an amazing guy, and a lot of his views on life just clicked with me. Started, listening, and didn't really have anybody. I was looking for someone to take advice from, kind of like a role model, you might say, which is funny. A lot of people don't think they're good role models, but then they end up being. But his insight and the way he thinks, it just matched a lot of the ways that I thought things I think about and that I felt alone about when I think. I've always been like kind of a manly kind of guy. I like doing manly stuff, but at the same time, like, I'm a big teddy bear too. I like cuddles. So it's kind of been weird because it's society's, you either got to be a man or not, and it's like, you can't be mixed. But you know what? It's like, fuck, I'm me. I don't really give a fuck what anybody thinks. I'm an artist. I love to paint. I love art. I love beautiful things. I love delicious food, fine women. Those are my favorite things in life. Oh, my lighting just went out. That's cool. I probably got to plug that in. Should have thought about that before I started this. But it's all good. What else? Let's see what else we can get into here in our first episode. I just been about blabbling. I'm blabbling. I found everything about the Joe Rogan podcast to be intriguing. The way he talked about exercising and getting out of your funk and using exercise as a medicine to help depression. At the same time, I happened to just come across this stuff called Kratom, which I was mixing with my coffee in the morning, and it was a big help but I was hearing a lot of things uh, negative about it online, and I wasn't quite sure what to take on it because I had been finding that it had been helping my mood, especially in the morning with my depression, almost night and day. Like having a couple grams of that in my cup of espresso in the morning would just get me out of that fog of just beating myself up that I would do every single morning. Uh, and I happened to, it's maybe the second episode I watched of his show, he had this guy Kyle on, and he was talking about kratom and exactly the same stuff that I was just describing. Like he said it exactly word for word, just about left me like speechless. So I was like, damn, maybe I'm onto something here. I'm definitely figuring something out, and this podcast is really like, it's crazy how much I felt grounded once I found it and started watching different guests and different point of views that I never really got to listen to. And I really didn't have any experience with the podcast world before. I had really never watched any besides maybe like um, just a couple on Sirius Radio I'd listened to way back when. Some Jim Brewer stuff, I believe. Um, and then I was a big fan of Howard Stern, even though he's not podcast, but he's got that pirate radio kind of vibe. Um, so I never really thought I'd be doing this, but when I started, it really helped me. Thus the name Lost and Found. I really felt lost as hell when I first found Joe Rogan's podcast, but once I found it in the podcast world, just the way all his friends kind of support each other and push each other to drive and do better and bigger things and just be better as a person every day. I don't know. It just was intoxicating to me. It was exactly what I needed. And I just felt like I was found. I found myself finally again through through the podcast. Um, it really just changed my life. I started meditating, working out. I started researching all kinds of stuff on self healing and exercise and the benefits of daily exercise and sunshine, vitamin D, all these things that they discuss that Rogan is big on. I started looking into it and it really just changed my life for the best, I think. Decided to find my passion again, which was art, which I love art. I love painting. I love making beautiful things. Like I said, I've always loved sunsets and stuff like that. Striking. I like things that are striking to the eye that make you kind of just take your breath away, like a beautiful woman. Um, let's see, what else can we get into? I grew up real poor most of my life. You know, we bounced around different school every year. I must have went to 13 different schools in my life. Sounds crazy to some people. Some people grew up in one house and went to 3 or 4 schools, and that sounds crazy to me. Like, holy shit. Um, I talked about bouncing around, up and down. Did a lot of that from north, up here, or down here, up there, back and forth, back and forth. I worked everywhere. Did just about everything you could think of. Restaurant industry, retail, cleaning, construction, you name it. I sold Kirby vacuums for a little while, door to door. Oh man, that was fun. Um, yeah, things did get really rough. Like I was saying, with my daughter after she got diagnosed, I got for a good while there, I got really depressed and started drinking and turned into drugs for a small time. And I got real hooked on doing opiates. Uh, Never anything real hard, but I got real hooked on like Vicodin pain pills. That was my thing. If I could get a Vicodin, I would pop it like it was candy. 3 years I've been clean and sober now. I won't touch one. I barely take one Tylenol or an ibuprofen if my arms got to be falling off just about to take anything that. I am a big advocate for medical marijuana and all its beneficial uses, including the CBD, which I have a bad back, and I use CBD for my back, and it is a game changer, especially if you can get some CBD lotion and rub that shit on your back, or get somebody to rub you down with some CBD lotion. It will relax you. I guarantee it. It is nice. It works. So I decided to start my YouTube channel and make art, which actually the first one was a relaxation channel. I was just kind of making relaxing music. I had a problem falling asleep, and I found a sleep channel where they got like relaxing music to help you fall asleep, and I thought it was a great idea. So I thought maybe I could start off by doing my own channel like that, and it didn't really work too well, as everybody's first channel never really does. After that, I found that I was interested in actually making my own show, and I wanted to start making art again, start really going to town, which is funny. The beginning of 2020, no one had any idea what was coming at us, and I'm sitting there like, yeah, I'm gonna paint every day, guys, just stick around. And here I am 9 months later. I love it. I love it. It's like my favorite thing. Now I'm starting this podcast. This is my new favorite thing. I'm going to work my best. I got a lot of people that I want to get, that I have some close friends with interesting backgrounds and cool stories, and hopefully we get some cool guests on. And I think it should be a lot of fun. I'm really, really interested in doing this just, for the rest of my damn life. I love it. Something about being behind the camera and doing all this stuff, I just feel like I was made for it. I never really felt like I fit in any jobs that I did in my life. And now that's not necessarily, I didn't do bad at any jobs. I would excel. I excelled at a lot of jobs I did. I worked for Target. I had their Southwest Florida division record for fastest truck unload, 3,000 pieces under 54 minutes. I like to work. I like to hustle. I'm big into hustle. If you're gonna do it, go fucking hard. That's been me. Go hard or don't do it at all. But I never really felt like I was cut out for anything until I found the podcast world, and I've actually been thinking about doing some stand-up. I think I might be good for stand-up. I worked a lot of retail behind the counter. I'm used to people heckling at you and talking. I'm used to saying hi to anybody that walks in the room, so I can handle a big room of people. I've had the training for it almost. I'm working construction. I definitely had to deal with some motherfuckers that like to joke and rag on you. So I picked up a lot of good stuff from them, and definitely got some iron skin from them. They don't play around. Them masonry guys. Whew, they'll lay it into you. They don't give a shit. You either gonna last or you ain't gonna make it. And I made it for 5 damn years, so. But it was time to leave. I decided to leave that and start focusing on my content full time, which led me to here. I really wanted to have some guests for my first couple podcasts, but I'm having the feeling that I might need to just get a couple of good episodes out before people really want to jump on and be a guest, which I hope they do. I have some really neat friends that I think would do great on here, and I would love to get their stories out. And some of them I think were made for this stuff too. Were made to be online, to be in front of everybody, making content for people. It's not just about me. Like, I love to do this, but I also want to do this to help give back to the people. Like, what I found in Rogan, if I can be that for somebody else, that would just mean the world to me. If I could help somebody feel not alone, or like they're good enough for themselves to just make it through that day, that bad day. If I can do that for just one person, then I did something right. And that's my goal. My goal is to do that and to try to get successful enough that I can handle anything my daughter needs, any kind of care she needs. She lives with her mother right now, but we're going to be hopefully working on some visitation stuff going on so I can get some time with her more than I have been, which would be cool. not like they keep her from me or anything. By all means, I'm allowed to go hang out with her whenever I feel like it. But it's nice. It'd be nice to have some, alone time at the house with my parents and her, and it'd be nice. And I think I put in the work and I keep doing what I'm doing. Eventually, I'll get there where I can afford a good house and enough space for her and to afford her nursing. She got 24-hour nursing, uh, so it can be pretty expensive. And shout out to her mother and grandmother because they are superstars, and we wouldn't be able to be where we are now with her without them too. So they're awesome. I hope you guys know that if you're watching. And on that note, I need to get to an art show that I want to film. I'm going to be doing some little trees that I did a long time ago. And I'm going to do it on a big canvas. On this big canvas right here. Nice and fresh. You get to see me take the plastic off. Behind the scenes. So right after this episode is done, I'm going to start filming that episode of Joint Reaper Studios. So if you guys like art and you'd like to stick around and see that, I will throw a link up here to my newest episode. And you guys can give that a watch because it should be pretty cool. Yeah, I don't really know what to touch else base with right now. I really want to make this a normal thing. I'm going to start trying to do an hour, 2 hours a week, every week, and just make this maybe a Monday and Friday kind of thing, or maybe a Tuesday and Saturday. I also stream live on Twitch and a few other things, video games. I do a lot of Call of Duty. I do Fallout 4, where I build settlements, some pretty in-depth settlement building, where I've been working on some cities that are kind of out of this world. Me and my buddy David Furlan, Satoshi Gaming, he does his own online streaming with games. He does a lot of virtual reality and stuff, and me and him host a show Saturdays, sometimes every Saturday, sometimes every other Saturday. But you should definitely check that out. I'll throw some links in the descriptions for those as well. Yeah, I think that might do it for my first episode here, Lost and Found with James McGrath. I hope everybody enjoyed. This was just a, intro, I guess, episode intro to Lost and Found with James McGrath. A little bit about me and why I want to do this, why I think I can succeed in this. And I think if I stick to it and I put out some good content, I think I should be able to do pretty good. I hope you guys agree with me. I hope you listen. I hope you like listening to me babble on about this stuff. If you did, go ahead and subscribe. Like I said, I'm gonna have weekly content come out, probably an hour or two a week. I'm gonna stick to that and really get that done. On top of my other stuff, I'll have links to my Twitch and my art channel on YouTube below, as well as another channel that I make content for other content creators on YouTube, where you can use copyright-free music for free without worrying about getting a copyright claim and all that stuff that maybe YouTube's library might not have. So you can go to my page, and which will have all the links and everything you need to use it ready to go in the descriptions. Go ahead and hit click download the song, copy the credits, paste them onto your thing, and you can use your song, your description. You can use the song. I have multiple sources that I get this music content from. Some are local artists, upcoming artists, stuff like that, who give the right out to use certain music to help themselves gain popularity. If you're interested in putting your music on my content, let me know. Go ahead, email me. I'll throw my email down there as well. And you can also photography. If you have any awesome pictures, you take pictures. you would like to get some of your photography out there, help me help you help me, you know what I mean? Throw me some photography, I'll make some videos with it, and I think we can help each other out. Alright, so I think that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. I hope everybody enjoyed listening to me babble like I said. I'm James McGrath, and this is Lost and Found, and I will catch you guys next time. See ya!